Hi everyone, I'm Carl Turner. I'm the founder of Swipeby. The off-premise food market was pre-COVID already a $490 billion industry, growing significantly year over year. And while that is a pretty big market, we are also seeing pretty big challenges, especially in suburban and commuter markets. In those markets, you might can relate, delivery is very expensive to consumers, almost absurd to restaurants. Drive-through is infrastructurally not possible for every type of restaurant. And well, pickup, even with curbside service that you see everywhere right now, normally consists of there's a phone number laminated to a parking cone that you then need to call, which generally doesn't help anyone and creates more problems, even though you ordered online. Swipeby brings a solution to this problem by turning any restaurant into a virtual drive-through with our turnkey curbside pickup platform and geo-fenced arrival notifications. We're a 360 merchant tool from web ordering plugin to consumer-facing aggregator apps and data and marketing analytics. We launched in 2019, in May 2019, and because we saw the huge investments in curbside and click and collect by Target, Walmart, and all of these type of brands, and with Swipeby now, any restaurant as well as smaller retailer can offer that level of convenience to their customers and tap into the same sales channel. Today, we partner with hundreds of restaurants across 25 states. We're adding about 15 restaurants a week. In Q2 this year, we processed over $1 million in GMV. And our business model is really simple. We are charging restaurants the market lowest 4.5% plus 45 cents per transaction. And that net yields approximately $1.50 in revenue on our side. We raised to date $1 million. That's how we got. And today I'm here for two things. Number one, everyone in the audience can invest right now, just $100 or more in a public crowdfund campaign. Best way to probably just Google Swipeby. And for our institutional investors, we're looking to close our first round in early November, our first institutional round. I mean, in early next year. Thank you.
Hey, Carl, good job. I know we've dug in a little bit on your company in the past, but I think just for the conversation. So obviously there's some really large players that are just growing and growing and growing when it comes to delivery or even the order ahead, Grubhub and all the likes. So is the differentiation that you bring to the table that is it really centered around cost for the restaurant? Is that the main difference?
No, so it's if you ask, what are we the only ones in, to bring it back to that point?
Yeah.
We are the only ones who are a turnkey curbside service solution. Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats, ShowNow, Toast Takeout, Menufy, and yes, I could name 1 million more players that play in the takeout market in a way, are all mostly web-based solutions that are focused on pickup and that are focused on delivery, one of the two. And we are more mobile focused, and with that we use the power of geofencing. I think that's the number one differentiator, and that's where we're the only in, meaning turnkey plus curbside service. There are other curbside service players, but they are more enterprise SDK models that McDonald's integrates in their app, Walgreens integrates in their own app. And then certainly on the price thing, that is also very, very where we do differentiate. We don't have the standard $200 a month SaaS model that ShowNow has. Neither do we have the 30% revenue share that an Uber Eats has, because we can take so many costs out of the equation with our model by still providing a hybrid convenience solution, which is, not the same as delivery, but actually in suburban markets often more convenient than delivery.
Yeah. So then the two big questions are, one, do the restaurants themselves have any operational changes that need to take place, operational or technical changes? Like, are there any complexities to the implementation of your solution? And then the second one that I'd go to is, how do you create consumer discovery of the opportunity? Obviously, these other apps, they charge a lot, but they have a lot of people that are already kind of on that network. So they're bringing customers to the platform as well. Like, how do you do that?
Let me start with the second part of the question. So we are strictly B2B. We don't sell B2C, and that is reflected in our pricing, right? So why does Uber Eats charge 30%? It's actually they charge 2 times 15%. They charge 15% a marketplace fee, which you get also charged as a restaurant for pickup, and then they charge a 15% delivery fee, right? And that then combines the 30%, meaning marketplace fee. Exactly, they invested billions in marketing, so they have a marketplace of users. Our pricing model feels for free to restaurant. It's like credit card fees, right? It's, I mean, it's virtually insignificant. And with that, and then we have a web plugin and the rest, so we can process orders through the website too. And then we have like cross-platform tracking. So the moment you order on the web, if you're logged in your phone, long story short is all our user acquisition happens through the restaurant. So we are such a low-cost solution, and we share the data with the restaurant. So we're so merchant friendly that the restaurant loses nothing converting all their phone sales, all their current website sales of whatever other service they use, which has not curbside and might be more expensive or similar price, onto our platform. That's the first one. In terms of technical requirements, so we do generally, so we work with a tablet that then can though connect to any modern IP kitchen printer. So we are not POS integrated, but we handle the menu upload, cost us about $50 for a restaurant. And then obviously a restaurant has a web backend where they can in and update prices. But really the only thing that a restaurant needs to do is put a tablet in, which yes, is not the best solutions in the world, but restaurants are used to it. And the thing is we need to have it. And that is actually a competitive advantage is because POS systems, they don't have a speaker. Curbside service arrival notifications don't work without a speaker. If you shoot a little ticket in the kitchen or at the receipt printer that someone is outside, good luck with that, right? So we need to have a physical device in the thing that makes noise and tells you, hey, Chris is outside, you know, in a black pickup Ford or what might be. And but what we are doing to ease operations is our tablet then with Bluetooth can connect to any modern Epson or Star kitchen printer. In addition, restaurants can get a printer from us, buy a printer from us, that also then shoots out the ticket at the kitchen at any station they might need to. But so in theory, a restaurant literally buys an Android tablet, buy one from us, logs in, connects it to their printer, and they're ready to go to accept orders.
Okay.
So, Carl, I've used Swipeby.
Hey.
Yeah, totally. And I've at Leroy Fox in South Charlotte uses it, and Eddie's place next door does not. And picking up from Leroy Fox is a whole lot better. It really is. So I have a question. If I'm a restaurant owner and I look out in the future and I see, you know, a third of my business being conducted through some of the big network players like Uber Eats and Grubhub and Postmates and those kinds of guys, what does that do structurally to my economics as a restaurant owner? Are the incremental sales, do they offset the incremental costs associated with those orders? Like, what do the restaurant owners of the world think long-term about those economics?
Sure. Number one, I can send you like 20 articles on it too. So to back up what I'm saying. So don't take my word for it. I'm not a restaurant owner, right? I don't have a restaurant right now. But what we are hearing from, and I mean, that's part of why we are providing. In the end, quite often for delivery economics not work, right? The unit economics for delivery work under the argument that that is a new customer ordering generally, right? So you are saying you have your top line, then after all your cost of food, your operational, the plastic, either at the plastic or hopefully not plastic, something recyclable, but whatever packaging. And then when you subtract the other, the fees out, you quite often land at a negative bottom line, which is fine if you consider your Uber Eats, Grubhub, DoorDash as a marketing expense, which actually a lot of restaurants viewing that at, right? But the reality is that is quite often not true. So we talk to a lot of restaurant owners, they have Uber Eats, they turn Grubhub on. Delivery, and that's why delivery businesses struggle right now, or not right now because of COVID, but have struggled with their unit economics. The order amount doesn't change. It's just now distributed. Then they turn DoorDash on, order amount still doesn't change. Because in the end, people are still going by brand quite often and are not so much, just choosing randomly restaurants on delivery. And obviously, that's not a case in our place where, the unit economics for the restaurant actually work and we convert, top line ends up with bottom line revenue. But so across the board, that is what we're seeing from restaurants. And that is, why we in Denver, as people like it or not right now, have actually an ordinance that requires delivery service to be capped at 15% to the restaurant, right? But I mean, there's a bunch of problems on the unit economics.
Well, because it was a long time ago, and only some of the audience will remember this, but there was an economic phenomenon called Groupon that was going to take over the world. And in some ways, the delivery services remind me of Groupon, and fundamentally, if they had that cost, that has to be reflected in pricing or reduced product costs, right? One way or the other, right? or these companies aren't going to be able to sustain doing this long term. So do you believe long term that the economic relationship between a restaurant and, for example, Grubhub or Uber Eats is unsustainable? Do you think in a 10-year view it's unsustainable?
Yeah. All right. Now let's paint big picture.
Yeah.
What I think will happen, number one, we see it already, consolidation. Delivery can reduce their prices by batching orders more efficiently, but that's especially hard in suburban markets with
Right.
of restaurants and consumers. So consolidation is number one. Similar how Uber, and kind of butchered it, but if we think about the car sharing, is the entire model is strongly based on, let's think, at self-driving cars, drones, and autonomous vehicles, right? That takes the driver out of the equation.
Right.
So I think in 10 years, I think some of these things we will have, and that will make delivery sustainable. If we don't have these technologically advances, delivery is not sustainable. Now, big picture. One thing is, so if we think about, what I think there's a huge opportunity for Swipeby actually in the long run, and we're slowly working towards this, but we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, is who manages the interaction of self-driving car, drone, and robot arriving at the curb, right? So in the end if you look at an airport model, you have the airline, Uber Eats, you have the manufacturer, Airbus, Boeing, which is DJI or whoever does the drone, or Tesla who does the car, but then the airport ground control is its entire own operation and business. And in the long term, where we Swipeby see go is actually from curbside service to continuing curbside service for whatever arrives, all of that thing. So that's, I think, where the future is, where delivery can be sustainable. Right now it's not.
Sure. Good. Is there anybody out there who does this cheaper than you, or are you the lowest cost guy?
We are the lowest. So no one else does curbside service. I would say a tech play like a Blue Dot, which is a pure geolocation company, is for a McDonald's cheaper in the end because at so much volume, right? So if you pay a simple API fee or a hefty monthly fee, in the SMB space and mid-market space, we are the cheapest solution for actually across the board for takeout, normal pickup, ordering ahead, plus curbside pickup. And we, again, the only one who really does curbside geofenced and automated as a turnkey platform.
Sure. And Carl, do you perceive that the customer experience of takeout has fundamentally shifted? So I've got to believe that the explosion of curbside is really centered around, I don't want to go in right now with what's going on, right? I don't want to expose myself to this environment, as opposed to it being exceptionally difficult to sort of walk out of your car, walk up to the bar and grab your takeout. Do you think those behaviors reverse, or do you think that that's kind of here to stay? And I get the long-term, one day everything will be autonomous and we'll measure the curbsides, but say in the 10 years in between those two events, hopefully of the end of COVID and the beginning of a true autonomy, how do you survive there?
Yeah, so very good question. I would say number one is curbside was here before COVID. We started the business in 2019. Walmart, Target has invested billions. McDonald's invested $6 billion in their entire mobile drive-through and curbside pickup infrastructure, all before COVID. Because in the end, in suburban markets, not in New York City, but in suburban markets, curbside is more convenient than actually delivery. It's on your drive. It takes all the hassle out and so on. So that's, I think, the first point, right? Curbside service is not really something that was brought because of COVID. What COVID did, it created customer education overnight. So what we would have spent, or what your companies would have spent millions and billions of dollars over 3 years, happened within a month on customer education. Is curbside here to stay? Again, now computer and consumers are trained. Pickup has been always here, right? And people used to do pickup. If you can get it at your curb, you have kids buckled up in the car, you're on a quick ride, on a commute back home, you are in so many scenarios. It's like not finding parking, not being able to go inside, simply for the restaurant, not having a crowded space inside of people, COVID or not. It's, the one next level of convenience. It's a first world problem, no doubt, but so is a lot of technology these days. We're solving first world problems, right? But it adds a significant level of convenience that still stays there, right? It's not just about spreading, not connecting with people. It's also about having a faster, better pickup experience. And Curbs and COVID just did a customer education event for us.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. We're out of time on questions. Carl, thank you so much. There were a couple questions.